Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Why did she ask you to do that?
Because she felt it was her only way to be with me.
Okay.
How did Nick know when to do this crime, time-wise, that morning?
I told him.
Who planned this?
I did.
I only use the one card that I have over you. Gypsy.
Newly released never-before-seen evidence has given us an inside look into Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Nicholas Godejohn's relationship. This video is part 1 of a series where we go over the details involving the videos that Gypsy and Nicholas would send back and forth to each other when they were role-playing. First, a little background. Gypsy and Nicholas met on a free Christian dating website in 2012. A few days after their initial connection on the Christian dating website, Gypsy and Nicholas took their relationship to Facebook. And just 8 days after communicating with each other, they made their relationship official. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. About a year into their relationship, they started talking both marriage and BDSM fantasies. BDSM refers to a variety of activities involving bondage, discipline, dominance, and submission. During the course of their 3-year online relationship, Gypsy and Nicholas would send videos back and forth to each other. According to one of Nicholas Godejohn's most recent appeals, the videos spanned from February 2013 to May 26, 2015. Gypsy used multiple different Facebook accounts to communicate to Nicholas through, one of the accounts being, quote, the Demona Love Slave account. In many of these videos, she was depicted in role-playing personas as well as being naked and they both took turns being dominant and submissive or master and slave. In Nicholas Godejohn's appeal, he called on a Dr. W, who was a pediatric neuropsychologist, to testify at the post-conviction hearing. Dr. W is a founding member and current president of the American Board of Pediatric Neuropsychology. He has substantial practical experience evaluating and treating individuals with autism spectrum disorders, Asperger's syndrome. Dr. W would testify as follows: people with autism spectrum disorders are susceptible to other people's wishes and are the ideal targets for manipulation. He would also testify that people at the high end of the spectrum, such as those with Asperger's, want intimacy but have a difficult time maintaining it. Dr. W testified that the videos would affect Mr. Godejohn differently than a non-autistic person because the videos would totally define Nick's reality. There would not be a separate Nick out in the real world who could second guess the role-playing. When he was in the role-playing situations, quote, he was totally there. He was totally there in an instructional setting where she laid the ground rules for how he was to relate to her. Dr. W found Gypsy's videos to be fascinating because each role had its own set of rules. So you had Demona, that was the master, who was telling Nick that, quote, if you do what I want you to do, there will be sex and there will be favors. If you don't, there will be punishment. I'll take away Gypsy. And then we have this later character introduced that basically shows up in a red wig and gives him instructions about how to hurt people and that we're going to rob and steal and all the rest of the stuff. When Dr. W reviewed the text between Gypsy and Mr. Godejohn from the night of the murder, he found that they were a continuation of the pattern where she gives him instructions. The 2 years of role-playing were a foundation for the events that took place on the night of the murder. They were part of programming a person with an autistic disorder to follow instructions and engage in a behavior based on the fact that he would lose his object of fascination if he did not. The behavior was always equated with love because that is the only way an autistic person would be able to understand this. With that little bit of background knowledge, now I'm going to read to you the list from the case files that gives some details and insight into the videos that Nicholas Godejohn sent to Gypsy.
Warning: this video contains content that some may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I want to say thank you to Into the Weeds podcast for sending me these documents. Because of their recent FOIA request, that is how I was able to obtain these. This is the first page of the documents that read Greene County Sheriff's Office and then the incident number. This first page is revealing a lot of personal details and information about people involved in the case, so I'm not going to show this first document. We're going to get right into the videos. This report was taken on November 29, 2017 by a Detective Handcock. The narrative states a thumb drive labeled as USB 27988 files from computer was reviewed. This thumb drive contained all of the electronics, computers, laptops, thumb drives, and USBs downloaded from Springfield Police Department Officer Michael Costello. The above-mentioned items were collected from Nicholas Godejohn's residence pursuant to a search warrant. There are also videos of Gypsy found on the USB, which she sent to Nicholas. They were reviewed as well. The following are the files and videos I reviewed and is not intended as a transcript or exact text of the files and videos. Quote, Skype chat messages did not indicate any conversations about the unaliving or the planning of the unaliving. Skype chat sync messages did not indicate any conversations about the unaliving or the planning of the unaliving. Google searches did show searches for tape 2103 West Volunteer Way, Springfield, Missouri, ruffled wrist cuffs, Greyhound change date on ticket, BHN taxi, taxi fare, Springfield, Missouri flower service, and Greyhound bus, Milwaukee. Firefox web history showed searches for several pornographic websites, marriage laws in Missouri, wedding officiants, apartment living in Springfield, Missouri, Section 8 housing in Springfield, Missouri, extreme restraints, and looking up routes from Wisconsin to Missouri. Facebook chat showed a confirmation email from Greyhound bus giving Nicholas his reference number. Classified URLs showed searches for handcuffs, mouthwash, bondage tape to include the ankle, wrist, black bondage PVC tape that does not pull hair, and mouth ball gag harness restraints. Chrome web visits showed searches for taxi finder costs and rates, Big Bend, Wisconsin, Greyhound bus, Days Inn, Springfield, Missouri, Domino's Pizza, taxi rider fare rates from Days Inn to Gypsy's old address in Springfield, Missouri, and Papa John's Pizza. Another Chrome browser web history showed searches for several different types of bullets from Bass Pro, Walmart search for SOG 15.3 jungle knife, Greyhound bus baggage information, Big Bend, Wisconsin moving tips, moving out of state checklists, what you need when moving out of state, several, quote, delete this entire conversation titles, Greyhound Mobile, Springfield, Missouri Taxi, KY3, KSPR News, USPS Location Search, Papa John's Pizza, and Ozarks Today. Chrome web visits showed searches for mother-daughter missing, considered endangered, KY3, Springfield, mother found dead, daughter still missing, and Ozarks First. So Gypsy was searching the news for when she and Nick committed the crime to see what they were reporting on. And then they have two more rows of Chrome web searches where Gypsy again was searching for Ozarks First, more news stories, and also Facebook. And now we're going to get into descriptions of the videos sent between the two of them. So this says, there are videos which are the exact same but are labeled different titles. Nicholas did not talk about the unaliving or any plans for him to commit the unaliving in these videos. Most of all, the videos were of Nicholas talking about his relationship with Gypsy and experiences they were going to have. Nicholas mostly rambles on in his videos and does not talk a whole lot about anything but the two's relationship. Nicholas appeared to be talking and acting normal in most of the videos. There are some videos where he would change his voice and act as if he was another person. The following few videos are mostly the kind of things Nicholas would talk about in all the other videos. The following few videos' content is written out to give an example of what the rest of the videos are similar to. This was done to save time for someone else to have to watch hours of video. The rest of the videos I watched were indicated as, quote, nothing pertaining to the homicide. Same video as above, end quote. Video labeled 000002, I'm just going to refer to the video as the last number they have, is over a 13-minute long video. In this video, Nicholas is talking to Gypsy's other alternate made-up personality. He talked about having intercourse with Gypsy and his rough sexual side toward her when they had intercourse. He talked about how he was Gypsy's master and how each personality needed to wear certain types of clothing during sexual intercourse. He talked about how hard it would be for Gypsy to please him, and she needed to not disappoint him. He talked about how she needed to make some videos for him. Video labeled 6 is over 6 minutes long. In this video, Nicholas is playing with himself and shows his penis to the camera on the device he is recording from. He talked about how he did research on how to get your penis to be the full size. He said according to a website he went to, indicated if you drink a lot of soda with sugar and caffeine, your penis will be fully erect the following day. During the video, he continues to try to make his penis erect while he was talking to Gypsy about the method. He said this was his second attempt at showing his penis fully erect to her, but he does not accomplish this. He talked about how he was not happy with the length of his penis. Video number 7 is over 18 minutes long. In this video, Nicholas is talking about how they have been together for over a year. He talked about how most relationships do not last because of the distance between them. He thanked Gypsy for trusting in him and how she would not go behind his back. He talked about a ring he wore to remind him of her. He said when he goes to the library and observes an attractive woman, he would look at the ring and be reminded of her. He went on to talk about how he was a faithful person and how he did not have to worry about her being unfaithful either. Video number 8 is over 12 minutes long. In this video, Nicholas awakes from sleeping and starts talking on the computer to Gypsy. He talked about what he was wearing to bed, which was a t-shirt and plaid boxers. He messes with the computer's camera, focusing it on his crotch area. He then removed his penis from his underwear, showed it in a limp state, and talked about how he had actually been up for a while, and this is why his no longer fully erect. He showed off his bracelet he was wearing and his necklace. Most of the video was him wanting to get fully erect to show Gypsy. Video labeled number 9 is over 4 minutes long. In this video, Nicholas talked about how it was 4 o'clock in the morning and he was making a good night video to Gypsy. Video labeled 10 is over 18 minutes long. In this video, Nicholas is addressing Gypsy and how her body may be broken physically, but not spiritually. He talked about how Gypsy deserved him and his love to her. He told her he only wanted 3 things from her: sex, affection, and her staying true to him. He talked about how they adored each other to the point the other person would even unalive someone for them. Video labeled 003813 is over 21 minutes long. In this video, Nicholas talked about how he could see into the future and wanted to warn Gypsy that he would not be home, but he would be at his grandmother's house. He talked about Ash Wednesday, and during this time, he would be very busy doing fish fries. He talked about how he was going to visit her. He talked about how he could make a lot of money by playing fantasy sports. He talked about the Disney movie Up and how it reminded him of her. He talked about an account of some sort of where she had money possibly saved up, but he never said how much or what type of account or bank. A fruitful future with me. This is a MP4, same as the video above labeled. This next video that Nick sent Gypsy, he's referencing the McDonald's incident. So this says, a message from your King Nick and Master Victor about second trial. Equals Nick talked about his court appearance in Wisconsin and how he had set up a payment plan to pay his fine. He talked about how he was consistent with everything he does and the fine will get paid, because the alternative would be spending 4 days in jail. He talked about the date 11/11/2013 being his court date, which was the same day he made the video. He talked about how he was testing the media when they interviewed him about his case and how they lied about what he said. Later in the video, Nicholas changes his voice and told Gypsy her master Victor was now the one talking to her. Nicholas, aka Victor, talked about the court fines again. A message from your King Nick and Master Victor about second trial. Same video as above. A must brought up topic equals Nicholas talked about how Gypsy was worried he only wanted to have with her when he was with her. During the video, he told Gypsy if she would just submit to him, then this issue would be done and over with, and Nicholas snaps his fingers. He talked mostly about her giving in and backing down to him. He said he would not back down from her, and she needed to back down to him. A successful video of my being showed, and talk about other topics that are recent, too, equals nothing pertaining to the homicide, and then they have the same thing again. Another romantic attempt, nothing pertaining to the homicide. 2 of those, Expressing deeper feeling to 2 equals nothing pertaining to the homicide. Expressing more feeling. Nicholas told Gypsy he was upset with her because she had compared him to a serial killer. He said he had too much of an innocent personality to do that. He talked about how he was hurt and how she hurt him by saying that. He talked about a spell he wanted her to do so they would bond together forever. He talked about the eyes being the window of the soul, but the ears were the road to his soul. He said he never had a mother or a father because they were working all the time and they did not spend enough time with him. He said Gypsy was like a mother to him. Because of this, he had to grow up early. He was a family man with rare characteristics. He said she did not need to compare him to Charles Manson because he did his research on him. He then yells at her to not ever compare him to Charles Manson. He told Gypsy she did not need to fear his dark one coming out and unaliving her or doing anything to harm her. The dark one might do things to her, but he would not harm her. He said she had 2 protectors inside of him to keep her safe. Expressing more feelings, same video as above. Forgotten sexual instructions from your master, Victor. Nicholas is talking in a deeper voice and told Gypsy and her other character, Demona, they had something expensive they needed to wear when they made their video to him. He said they needed to do this so they would not disappoint him and they would get more videos from him back. He said Demona was built to handle some very things. He wanted Gypsy to wear white and red lingerie. He wanted Demona to wear red and black lingerie because they were vampire colors. He said him, Victor, and Nicholas would be pleased. He said he would be able to dominate her to the point that she would be scared and it would be easy. He told her with her master would be pleasure and pain. From the hurt inside. Nicholas talked about before Gypsy came into his life, he was afraid he would never find true love. He talked about how he was going to a BDSM website and ordered a chain-up slave. He said he was getting hopeless and trying to find true love until she came into his life. He said the Lord brought her into his life before he got to that point. From here, we have several videos listed that say nothing pertaining to the homicide or same video as above. So I'm going to move down to the one that says Gypsy Special B-Day Video 2. Nicholas is telling Gypsy happy birthday in this video. Then around 4 minutes, 31 seconds into the video, he closes his eyes and Master Victor is now the one talking. Victor told her happy birthday and told her to give him feedback on the video. Nicholas then started talking in his normal voice and also as Victor, as if they were both talking to her. From here, we have several more videos. Happy belated birthday to my true love. Happy Easter. Nothing pertaining to the homicide. So we're going to move down. This one is titled Important Video. Nicholas introduced himself to Gypsy as her master, Victor. He talked about how she was a reliable slave to him and thanked her for her loyalty. Victor then said he was now going to let Nicholas talk to her about something important. He said she should not expect presents from him, and all that should matter is time to her. He continued to talk about her being spoiled with his time and not gifts. He said that he felt pressured to talk to her because she did not respond to his video about time and presents. Important video, same video as above. Letter confirmation and other topics by your King Nick equals Nicholas told Gypsy he had another personality who he learned over the weekend was called Shinnery, I believe, and Shinnery was due to come out anytime. Master Victor's message 2 equals Nicholas is talking as Victor. He talked about how there are different kinds of vampires in the world. He talked about how the sun gave some vampires their power, and these vampires do not need blood. He said there was a human-type vampire who are friendly towards others. There was a vampire that got their power from the moon, and they don't need to hunt, but they don't like the sun. He said his breed does not drink blood, they eat regular food, and they don't hate all other vampires. Master Victor's message equals same video as above. Master's bonus video with Nick at ending 1-1 equals Nicholas is talking as Victor, and he told Gypsy she will give a hex spell to someone as he commands. He is very firm and authoritative about this. He told her she will do what he said. He talked about how he could break her spell and was not joking around about it. He gives her several firm warnings, telling her she will do what he said. He talked about if she did not do what he said, he would make her put a spell on a female so he could grape her and even have a gangbang with this female. He said this does not mean he would unalive her, but he would break her spirit forever. He said if he observed someone as sexual, she would need to put a hex spell on this female so he could grape her. During the duration of the video, he continued to command her to do whatever he told her to do. Master's bonus video with Nick ending 1-1 video would not play. Master's white collar response equals Nicholas is talking as Victor in this video. He said Gypsy would earn her white collar when they are in person. He mainly reprimands her in this video for not saying goodnight the proper way. He also talked about what she needed to expect when they are together. Me expressing myself after a nap on a Tuesday night, nothing pertaining to the homicide, several more not pertaining, and then must listen to message from your King Nick equals Nicholas talked about how the dark one was going to more than likely come out sometime during the evening. He said he knew this because of the songs in his head. Then we have my birthday video, nothing pertaining to the homicide, my dear special folder, nothing pertaining to the homicide, February update, and my marriage video, nothing pertaining to the homicide. There's a few more below this. One, my reflection on yesterday's hard day and me being your master and daddy dom, nothing pertaining to the homicide. My video about the changes in you that must be told that notice, nothing pertaining to the homicide. There's another, my video with a new haircut, Nick's video from Inside Out, 1 year anniversary video for my blessing Queen Gypsy, and 2 proof of my dedication videos. Then we have Shinnery's introduction to Damona and Gypsy. The screen is dark and Nicholas is talking with a different voice, portraying to be whom he called Shinnery. Nicholas is very hard to understand in this video because of the way he talked. He called Gypsy by name and then called out to Damona as well. He talked about how he could see everything behind the scenes and he knows everything that goes on. He told Gypsy she had better obey him or he would hurt her, and if she messed up, he would make her life a living hell. He said he had no heart and he had no care in the world. He told her she would do whatever he told her to do when they were together in person. Then we have Shinnery's next message to Damona and Gypsy. The screen is dark and Nicholas is talking with a different voice, portraying to be who he called Shinnery. He said he would not reveal his identity to her, even though she requested him to. He mostly talked about how he could make her sad or happy, and she needed to listen to him and obey him. He told Gypsy she was playing with fire, and she thought Damona would help her get out of the situation. She was wrong. He addressed Damona as being his partner in crime, but he did not elaborate on this. He talked about being able to sense things from other people's souls and seeing through their souls. He said he knows her master Victor has something planned for them. He said they needed to obey him and they had no other choice but to obey him. He said he only had one soulmate and this was his sister, and he hoped this could be one big love affair. He said if she could hurt other people and do evil for him, this would prove her love to him and show they are interested in him. He said he would prefer to grape her versus having normal intercourse with her. He said if she was willing to help him unalive someone and let him grape her, he would not hurt her. Then we have showing proof to my dear 2 several times, showing you the mail again and other dear, special goodnight message, nothing pertaining to the homicide. Talking to my mistress in true love with Master Victor. Nicholas is talking at first, then he introduced Victor, who then spoke. He talked about how he did not want Gypsy to mention something on Facebook. He did not say what it was that they were not supposed to talk about. Nicholas comes back and said he did not know what Victor just told them, but thought he heard something about a video. We have Teru's Mastery of Comfort, Trial Day, Valentine's Day, nothing pertaining to the homicide. Victor's farewell video to Gypsy. Nicholas is talking as Victor in this video and addresses it to Gypsy. He talked about having a new slave and being a vampire who could do paralysis on someone. He talked about a video Gypsy made for him and how she gave up her ownership to him. There was ownership papers found on Nicholas's computer. He talked about a journey trip he would have to take, and Gypsy would have to make sure she did her part to help Damona. He said he was looking for an opportunity to strike. He did not elaborate about the journey trip. He mostly talked about how he had plenty of slaves in the past and she, Gypsy, was not fully trained yet. He said she would be overwhelmed by Nicholas when they met in person. He talked about the different characters they had and when they all met each other. He talked about how he was not afraid to manipulate anyone. He talked about how she would have respectful fear of him. Then we have Victor's farewell video to Gypsy, video 12, nothing pertaining to the homicide, and then several more videos not pertaining to the homicide. Words of wisdom from your master, Victor, equals Nicholas is talking as Victor in this video and addresses it to Gypsy. He said as soon as Gypsy is his property, all the back talking between her and Nicholas would need to stop. He blamed Gypsy for starting the arguments between them, and he wanted to give her some words of warning. He warned her it was not a good idea to do this because he could do whatever he wanted to her. He talked about Gypsy signing the, quote, paper. She would be his, and everything she owned is his. He would be her official master at that point. He told her she needed to do a response video, and if it were more than 10 minutes long, he would be mad. And if it was less than 5 minutes, she would be in trouble. If she were to make his life difficult, then he would make her life hell. He gave her 5 rules to follow to keep her master content. Think selflessly, worship, obey, honesty, and trust him. He said she should listen to him because he, Victor, was aware of them doing bad things in the future to get back at a couple of people. He said he would not name who they were since he, Victor, was aware of who they were as much as Nicholas and Gypsy were. Words of wisdom from your master, Victor, same video as above. Your king's newest update, nothing pertaining to the homicide. Your master, Victor's commands and instructions equals Nicholas is talking as Victor in this video and addresses it to Gypsy. He said Gypsy had to make a video for Nicholas and gave her some instructions. He said he wanted her to respond to show how she felt about Nicholas having and values. He asked her to respond to how she felt about being restricted, bound, and him taking her virginity. He talked about how the could stretch out to 9 inches and he wanted to make sure she was okay with it. He was able to make his penis 9 inches in length. He wanted Gypsy to grape him and told her he is turned on by it. Nicholas wanted Gypsy to tell him how she felt about him graping her. The following are videos this investigator thought were of significance from Gypsy to Nicholas, which were located on Nicholas's computer. The following are the files and videos I reviewed and is not intended as a transcript or exact text of the files and videos. Now it's going to go into all of the videos that Gypsy sent Nicholas, and I'm going to make a separate video reading all of those, but since these are on the same page, we'll go ahead and read these. The first video says, Gypsy is outside on her deck in her wheelchair and is recording the backyard with her cell phone. She was pointing to several areas close to her house and said these areas were, quote, good spots. She did not elaborate on what she meant by good spots. Now, I believe that this is the video that NPG Cornerstone recently released in one of their videos. And I'm pretty sure in that video she was talking about places that they could have. Now, the next one says, Gypsy is showing Nicholas several baby items she has collected and put in plastic containers. She said Damona got all the baby items and she, Gypsy, did not have to get them. She even thanked Damona for getting the baby items. She said now all she needed was the baby. So apparently Gypsy has gotten some baby items from somewhere, possibly stolen them, who knows. Gypsy is showing some black and pink lacy underwear she said she would be wearing for Nicholas when they met again in June. Gypsy is apologizing to Nicholas because of how she acted the day before. She said she would try to be a better person in the future and she would never leave him. So that concludes this video and all the details about some of the videos that Nicholas Godejohn sent to Gypsy. I will be making a second video reading through the videos that Gypsy sent to Nicholas. So let me know what you guys thought about this. I think this definitely shed some new light on Nicholas Godejohn and just where his frame of mind was. And we even heard about some new personas that we hadn't heard about previously. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing and I'll catch you on the next one.